Hey guys, Zach here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Cam 4K. Now, it's definitely no secret that here at Supermoon Studios, we're big fans of the Blackmagic cameras here. We use them when we do client work, when we're shooting short films, and we use them when we do our YouTube videos. Although today, I'm using the EOS Rebel T4i. Now, Nick uses an Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K G2, and I have the Pocket Cinema Cam 4K, which we're reviewing, so let's get into it. So let's start with a quick overview of the technical specs. So to start off, much like the original Pocket Cinema Cam, we've got a 4/3 size sensor, so there's going to be a crop factor of about ×2. So for example, an 8mm lens would look like a 16mm lens. Now, we also have 13 stops of dynamic range and a dual native ISO of 400 to 3200. Now, if you have a compatible lens, it does also have an autofocus feature. For me, even if I did have this compatible lens, I probably wouldn't use it unless it's an application like this where I need to record myself. This camera will also allow you to choose to shoot in 4K DCI, UHD, and 1080p. None of the Pocket Cinema cameras at this time, whether it's the 4K, 6K, or the 6K Pro, will allow you to shoot in 2K. Maybe if they decide to expand the line, maybe this will be an optional feature that they'll add in. Now, for recording, you're going to get the options of Blackmagic RAW, obviously, Apple ProRes 422 HQ, 422 LT, and Proxy, which is what I mostly shoot in, so my laptop can handle it. Now, let's go over to build quality. The build quality on the Pocket 4K is fantastic. Now, it is plastic, but don't let that fool you. It's very durable. Now, it's obviously not going to be comparable to something, say, like the Red, but like any camera, as long as you don't drop it, it'll be fine. Now, as someone who upgraded from the original Pocket Cinema Cam, I love the handle grip here on the Pocket 4K. Now, I do wish it was some kind of maybe a thicker kind of rubber or something so that could really like kind of grip your hand a little better, but nonetheless it's fantastic and it feels great, which is why I think a lot of people who are transitioning from DSLR cameras over to, if they moved over to this one, I think they're gonna feel a familiar feeling in their hands, because it does kind of mimic the kind of thick and wide body of a DSLR camera. Now, something that may or may not surprise you is that this camera is significantly lightweight. Even with an adapter and a lens on there, this camera is incredibly lightweight. You can just hold on to the grip and hold it in your hand if you're walking around very quickly. Now, I think my only gripe with the build is the rubber doors. They can get quite annoying, especially when you're trying to plug in the 12-volt port. That is always a source of frustration for me every time. I just feel like they're always in the way, and I almost wish they were detachable. So we've talked about specs and we talked about build quality. Let's look at the physical features that are on the camera itself. So right off the bat, we've got a mounting point, which the Cage is currently using right now, a little speaker, our on-off switch, and 3 programmable function buttons. We also have our ISO button, shutter button, and white balance buttons. Taking a look at the back, we've got iris and focus buttons for compatible lenses, high frame rate button, zoom button, menu, which brings up all of our settings, and a playback button, and of course this large full HD screen. Now let's take a look at probably one of the best parts of the camera, the left side. Here we've got a mic input, headphone jack, full-size HDMI input, USB-C port, mini XLR port with phantom power, and our 12-volt charging port. These are incredible features for a camera at this kind of price range and quality. Some even higher-end cameras don't even have these features. So I think it's time we look at some sample footage. So here are my thoughts and impressions as someone who's owned this camera for a year. I'm sure it's not going to come as a surprise when I say that I adore this camera. Much like Nick lamented in his review for his Ursa Mini, this camera is absolutely a workhorse. Whatever you need it to do, this camera practically does all of it. This is a full-fledged cinematic camera that is ready to go right out of the box. If you wanted to, you could literally pop in a memory card, put on a lens, and you're ready to go out and shoot footage. It's that easy. Now, if you're doing some real heavy shooting, this camera is obviously truly meant for that. This camera has been used in countless Hollywood and kind of higher to low end independent films. You can rig it out like I have. There's a variety of options available to choose from. For right now, I just went with this very basic $130 cage from Small Rig. I also added a SSD and also a Juicebox 2.0 battery. I've shot with this camera on very hot days and in very chilly weather, and it's worked through all of it with no issues. I think one of my favorite things about the camera is its size. It really packs a punch, and it's so versatile with what you can do with it. If you're shooting a scene where you really need to run and gun, and as independent filmmakers we shoot a lot of those scenes, this is so perfect for that. For example, when I shot our short film about Valentine's Day, this was a perfect camera to just walk around Boston with and shoot. It was so much easier than carrying around a large camera that you need to lug around and kind of worry about like people being nervous about what you're doing. This was easy because it just looks like a kind of like a regular photo camera or like a DSLR. So this was just easy to walk around Boston with. Now, with all of that being said, there is something else that is very important that you need to know if you're looking at buying this camera. Like the other Pocket Cinema Cam, the original one, the battery life on this camera is atrocious. You get about an hour, and after that, you're really gonna have to charge it. The hour too, it really depends on your settings. If you're shooting at max 4K settings, you're maybe going to get 30 minutes out of it. There's a whole variety of battery solutions which you're going to be covering in a different video. So in conclusion, if you're looking to get a cinematic camera to shoot weddings, short films, client work, live streaming, virtually anything, I would definitely go with this camera. For the price point, the quality is absolutely insane, and it's actually more affordable now than it ever has been. As of the making of this video, you can get a brand new Pocket 4K for as low as about $1,300. And for the price of the camera when it came out, it was about $2,000. For just a few $100s more, you can actually pick up the 6K version of this camera. So I hope this video was a lot of help in deciding whether or not you should purchase this camera. We talk a lot in this channel about equipment and gear that we use that we think our fellow indie filmmakers could or should use, and I can definitely say without a doubt this camera is well worth your money. So if you're looking to pick up a Pocket 4K, let us know in the comments below, or if there's anything that you're wondering about this camera that we didn't cover, let us know in the comments. Or if you love your Pocket 4K, we definitely would love to hear it. So until next time, see ya.